to death again, and the mage quickly spills it. Sword King FC 898 offered him 50,000 GP. The mage says he lost his mind, deserved to die, and keeps apologizing to him. He explains that Sword King's fan club kept donating non-stop, and for a moment he got carried away. Then he begs the protagonist to forgive him. MC feels like something is off. Offering 50,000 GP is no small thing, so this might be more than one person. He decides to remember that. Grabbing the mage by the collar, Cyan tells him to thank Sia for stopping this. The mage happily thanks Sia. Then he throws him back down to the zombies. The blonde streamer starts talking to the audience again, saying, "This is how things go on this YouTube channel. If they had fun, they should like and subscribe." Meanwhile, the protagonist decides it's time to get back to hunting zombies. He says he would have cleared the mission already, if not for that interruption, since he had been cutting through zombies with ease and was already at 921. He opens his status window, thinking the last 80 will be quick work, but then he notices an unread notification and gets startled. The mission is already complete, which leaves him wondering what happened. He looks behind him and sees a trail of lightning across the area, with burned zombies all over. Then he realizes it came from his lightning step. What happened was simple. The electricity made by his jump wiped out the zombies around him. He failed to control it, and the leftover energy burst out. Xiang says it wasn't clean, because he used the 3 elixir fields instead of the nameless divine art. The result was good, but it still felt sloppy. He knows he needs more practice. Then someone calls out to him. The blonde guy asks if he's going back down there, and if he can come along. But Xiang turns to Diego Masid first, thanking him for protecting the crystal. Diego says he only did what he had to do, and the two start getting friendly. MC says he'll repay him later. He also says there's something he wants to talk about, but before he can continue, the whole place starts shaking. Everyone panics at the sudden quake, since nothing like this has happened before. The blonde guy says it feels like something is about to burst, and Diego tells him to look ahead. When he does, something erupts from the ground, tearing up through the earth, and when he gets a good look at it, it's a giant finger. They freeze in shock. It looks like a massive hand with a mouth on it. Then the thing screams at Xiang. Everyone stares at it, asking what that thing even is. They call it disgusting, and the blonde guy says it's huge up close. The hand grins while zombies start gathering beneath it. Hearing that scream again, Xiang suddenly remembers something and is shaken by it. Then the hand starts eating the zombies. The protagonist realizes that thing is devouring them. It slaughters every zombie nearby, killing and eating them one after another. It gets even more revolting with zombie chunks stuck on its tongue and teeth. After chewing them up, something remains on its tongue. That lump drops to the ground, and from it, a stronger zombie is born. The blonde guy is stunned, asking why something like this showed up in a Bronze League game when it should only appear in Gold League and above. Xiang is alarmed. The monster created after the hand devoured and reshaped the zombies is a flesh golem. Even the Shining guy said these things never appear in bronze, so this makes no sense. He wonders if it's because of the chain quest, then reads the status window. Defeat the flesh golem without the crystal's help. That last part bothers him. Then the system says he cleared defense map 10-2, which only makes things stranger. A new message appears. Bonus mission unlocked. Eliminate the flesh golem. Everyone is shocked. Bronze maps aren't supposed to have bonus missions, and now the system is asking them to kill that thing? It says they must stop the flesh golem created by the Apostle of Destruction Black Hand, while those monsters start moving in. At the same time, the hand sinks back into the ground. Xiang says the crystal's blessing can help close the power gap, and the blonde guy wonders if this is even a mission they're truly expected to clear. Even Gold League players struggle against those things. MC agrees it definitely doesn't look like a normal clearable mission. Still, if it wasn't this hard, they wouldn't offer rewards like these. 10,000 achievement points and a crystal fragment. The fragment is clearly the real prize, and rewards like that make this feel like at least an epic level mission. Xiang glances at his sword. The blonde guy keeps talking, saying it's a bonus mission, so they have to give it everything they've got, and he should take the crystal blessing first. Instead, the protagonist just draws his gray sword and says he's fine. Lightning starts gathering around him. He faces the golem and moves in. He explains that a flesh golem is undead by nature, making it extremely tough. To kill one, you have to destroy the core in the center of its body. But with its soft flesh and mixed together bodies, that's much harder than it sounds. On top of that, it's considered a mid-level boss even in Gold League, so this fight is dangerous no matter how strong Xiang is for bronze. As he powers up, he tells the other two to step back. They still have no idea what he's planning, as he charges forward wrapped in lightning. His step slams into the ground hard enough to leave a deep mark, and watching him, they realize he's the real deal. As he leaps toward the golem, Xiang recalls a basic move from the nameless divine arts, the foundation, one of its 3 core forms. That martial art is built on heaven, earth, and man, each with its own meaning. Heaven is the sky in a vertical slash, earth is the ground in a horizontal slash, and man is the people in a thrust. Those 3 make up the base of the nameless divine arts. Raising his sword, he moves into the next technique, one that symbolizes the destruction of Mount Tai. With a single insane strike, he splits the flesh golem in half and hits its core dead center. The two behind him can barely believe it. Diego Masid even drops what he's holding, stunned that Seong shattered the core with one attack. MC says the name sounds grand, but it's really just a vertical slash. Even so, what he pulled off was anything but simple. Then the system announces that MC has defeated the flesh golem. and the fourth tower has cleared the bonus mission. Everyone is stunned by what he just did. At that moment, the blonde streamer feels a storm of emotions, fear, despair, hope, and desire, all tangled together. He drops to the ground, showing full respect. He's left breathless by what Sorang just did. Before, he only saw him as good content for a live stream, but now the feeling runs much deeper. Now he wants to record him for real. In his mind, the protagonist is already someone who could reach the very top of all players. He knows what he has to do. He has to capture Sorang's path to becoming a legend. Then MC returns to the tower in a flash of lightning. Even if the blonde guy is fully determined to support him, it won't be easy. Still, this is the moment when Sanji Han and Diego Macid Seed begin their connection, and it looks like they'll become close allies later on. Meanwhile, the players at the other towers are horrified by the difficulty. They curse the game as a flesh golem destroys their tower and wipes everything out. The third tower falls too, along with several others. Then the bonus mission ends, and the players who cleared their missions receive triple XP and GP. Sorang thinks the rewards from this game are amazing, and of course there's still one more thing he needs to collect. He tells Diego they can meet outside, but Diego says he doesn't need any reward, since he already got him a great bonus. The latter says he just wants to share something about his abilities and asks if he's curious. Diego pauses and asks what the protagonist means. Sorang only gives one hint: mage. He says explaining everything here would ruin it, so they can talk more over dinner. Diego asks if MC is telling him to change classes. Normally, he'd reject something like that right away. But after everything he just showed, Diego can't help being interested. If there really is a class that suits him better, he says the protagonist should message him. The protagonist likes the answer and asks what food he wants so they can pick a place. Then the blonde guy asks to come along too. Diego shuts that down, saying this is his reward. The blonde one quickly changes topics and says he wants to talk about streaming, but Sorang still refuses. Golden Light keeps pushing, saying he wants to be MC's partner and even his editor. He answers, sure, making the blonde guy think he agreed. Then the protagonist makes it clear he meant no and just walks off. That leaves Golden Light behind, all alone and nearly in tears. Later back home, he clears the chain mission Zombie Source 2 and gets 10,000 achievement points plus a crystal fragment. The next chain mission, Apostle's Vestments, will unlock in Silver League. Sorang thinks the 10,000 points makes sense after how hard that mission was. The reward is amazing, and he's glad he got the power earlier, but the crystal fragment feels a little disappointing. It grants one use of Divine Blessing, usable only in Bronze and Silver League. MC explains that holy supports are the only ones who can normally use it, and it's one of the best buffs around, boosting all stats by 50. That's why it matters so much in higher leagues. Still, he can only use it once, and only in Bronze or Silver. That part's a shame. Then he checks the completion reward. Since he finished first, his GP and EXP get a 50% boost. He reaches level 3 and gains 6,000 GP. His martial power and strength both rise to 17, and he notes he still needs 12 more levels before he can enter the Silver promotion match. Honestly, those stats are crazy for this point. He even wonders if anyone in the game's history has grown this fast. Then the Otherworld Relic, Executioner Sword, starts reacting. He fully understands the Otherworld faith, gaining one divine power. He realizes that divine power is being added into strength, and the relic's rank drops to E. But something feels off. His stat didn't go up, so he wonders if divine power and strength aren't a one-to-one trade. While he's thinking about that, the relic fails to hold the power inside and starts breaking apart. The weapon shatters right in front of him and gives off a small blast. It still hurts him, and he guesses the power from the sword's 3 elixir fields is exploding out. The blast is way stronger than expected, and he figures the sword couldn't survive the destruction of Mount Tai. Shards cut into him as it breaks. He realizes this is dangerous because he has to absorb that power again, but that power is too much for him. A huge flash fills the building until everything finally settles down. In the building next door, someone watches Seong closely. It's Takeda from Japan, and he reveals he moved nearby on purpose. He had thought his plan might fail, and then remembers he was the one who sent the message to the mage and offered money, so that whole mission started because of him. He wonders what the mage is doing, then calls himself a helping hand for someone with the same goals. He gets his revenge, and in return he gets to see Seng's status windows. Takeda calls the others idiots for thinking they'd turn on each other after losing their biggest edge. To him, that just makes them easy to use. He says getting him targeted was simple. He only had to pretend he was part of the Sword King fan club. He knows the protagonist is wary of him, but thinks he should be more worried about the people around him. The mage is clearly full of bad intentions toward MC, but he still never broke the crystal. So now, Takeda says they need to teach Scene what real defeat looks like. But after the plan fails, he starts thinking maybe he should stop meddling in other people's games. He grumbles that it would have been nice if luck had helped, and calls that player useless. The guy couldn't even sabotage the match. Takeda says he should have just broken the crystal right away instead of wasting time. If he had, Siang would have shown his status windows. That thought makes Takeda furious, and he snaps that nothing is going as planned. His mood swings hard as he says this is getting annoying. If it keeps up, someone else might grab him first. He nearly lashes out on the spot. It's said that Takeda, from Japan's Self-Defense Force Ring, is stuck in a bad position, From experience, he knows the protagonist is someone they need to recruit no matter what. But his superiors want solid proof before making a move, so they demanded more evidence to support Takeda's claims. What Takeda needs most is for MC to reveal his status windows. That would finally back up everything he's been saying. So he tells himself there's no time to waste, and that sloppy tricks like this won't work anymore. Sung should just wait a little longer, because once Takeda gets those status windows and receives approval from the company like the Sword King did, he'll make him his using that special method. He's already thinking about the woman with the enchanting scent who draws everyone in and takes them to Japan. Meanwhile, as the divine power keeps rising, the protagonist notices something. 3 points of divine power equal 1 point of strength. Since martial power is tied to strength too, it rises as well. That's how his martial power reaches 18. He wonders if the sword's leftover divine power got absorbed when it broke. Losing the sword is sad, but the result is still good. His strength goes up to 18, and from now on he can only absorb divine power from relics ranked A or higher. He can barely believe that, since relics like that are hard to even imagine getting. He's been growing fast off low-ranked junk, but that can't last forever. If he wants more, he'll have to spend real money. Right then, a headache starts coming on, and his niece walks in. She says 50 million was transferred to her. Tumapsa is surprised the money arrived that fast, but she gets startled when she sees his face. She asks what happened, and he says his weapon suddenly exploded. He tells her not to worry, but blood starts running from his head and scares her even more. She says this is serious, and tells him to clean up so she can treat him. She thought he was finally acting like an adult, but says he's still a kid. That leaves him weirdly happy, and he wonders if that's really true. A little later, she asks if he's really okay, and he questions why she's asking again. She says he got so much money that buying sundae and rice sausage feels too cheap. Sundae Perong asks if she doesn't like it, and she says that's not it. She does like sundae and rice sausage, but asks if he wouldn't rather eat meat. He says he used to feel that way, but after getting so much meat, he actually started missing sundae and rice sausage. He spent a long time in the United States and says this is the first real meal he's had since coming back. Eating out sometimes is fine, but in the end, Korean food is the best. Even so, she reminds him she's the one paying, so he could have picked something more expensive. Seong says it's fine. They'll be eating together for a while, so she shouldn't worry. But then she says they actually shouldn't eat every meal together, which confuses him. She explains that she plans to go back to the academy. Even with everything going on, she's still the student council president, and just relaxing like this feels wrong. MC asks why she doesn't follow her teacher's advice and rest for a week, but she starts talking about something else. The day she'll receive her blessing at the Hall of Gifts is getting close. That makes him stop and think. C's birthday is very close, August 22, and it's only the 8th right now. This will be her 18th birthday. Even in his first life, when everything was terrible for her, Sia looked forward to that day. She received a blessing at the Academy's Hall of Gifts. She had hoped a good gift would change her life, but that hope didn't last long. The blessing Sia received was rank F. She fell into despair, and in the end, that was the moment her mind truly broke. Remembering that leaves Sia deeply unsettled. Remembering that, he says she'd be crushed if he told her she's going to get an F-rank gift. So he needs to lower her hopes, little by little. He asks if she's going back tomorrow, and she says yes, it's Monday, so the timing is perfect. Then he says he'll drive her there, and she asks why he'd suddenly do that. She says she's not a little kid anymore, so he doesn't need to worry. But he reminds her they both know their situation, and he's already made up his mind. Still, she asks why he started acting like this all of a sudden. To her, it just doesn't sound like him. Then he notices that she's still happy about it. He laughs at her, which annoys her, but he just tells her to let it go. Later, when he gets home, he wonders what happened. The place feels completely different, and he wonders where all the cars went. C had heard they were sold, but all of them? Then he realizes that's why he couldn't find any keys. So she tells her uncle she'll just take the bus. But then he notices there is still one car left. They walk over to a beat-up car, and she says it was her mother's. He figures her father either couldn't bring himself to get rid of it, or more likely, couldn't sell it. He wonders if it's even unlocked, then sees the key still inside. She asks if they're really going to use that thing. The car starts coughing out smoke like a broken smoker, and it clearly looks rough. He asks why she said that. Was she embarrassed? She says no, she's just worried. He asks about what, and a little later, some cocky guy storms over and tells him to move the car. C says that's exactly what she was worried about, while the guy keeps barking at him to move it. They've arrived at Baron Williams' academy. He thought a cheap car might get some looks, but he didn't expect someone to actually start a fight over it. So he asks what the problem is, and the guy snaps back, asking how he dared park that piece of junk there. The protagonist gets out and asks what this guy's deal is. The answer, he claims that parking spot belongs to them. But the protagonist warns him to watch his mouth. He has just as much right to be there, since he's also the legal guardian of a student at the academy. That's when people realize it's Sun Ji-han, the bronze killer. Once they notice he's at the academy, everyone gets excited and starts wanting pictures to post online. At the Twin Stars Guild office, Ha-yan tells Ga-yan to come with her right away. Ga-yan asks what's going on. Ha-yan says they're heading to Baron Williams' academy because Sun Ji-han showed up there. Ga-myan asks why they're rushing off so suddenly, and Ha-myan gets mad that he's ignoring her after she dressed up just to look pretty for him. She says she'll make him obsessed with her. Then she takes off after him, telling Sun Jihan to stay right there and wait for her. Seriously, there's no way around it. She got rejected, and now she's never letting the protagonist go. Meanwhile, that guy keeps ranting that Minji got mad over a wrecked-up car. He even orders the protagonist to kneel and cocks back his fist to punch him. But the protagonist quickly activates his fury. The guy throws the punch while shouting for him to kneel, and his niece gets scared. Then everyone around them starts noticing something strange, because the man's fist stops right in front of the protagonist's face. He hasn't moved at all, and the attacker panics, wondering why his body suddenly froze. With one hand raised, the protagonist uses force to shut him up, then slams him straight to the ground. He calls the guy unbelievably rude, saying that as another student's guardian, he should know better instead of acting like a thug. Sian says people are staring and begs her uncle to stop. Then a girl inside a car calls out to Sia. Sian turns in surprise, and the protagonist realizes this seems to be one of her friends. She greets Hisal, saying it's been a long time. Then the girl asks her bodyguard what he was doing. He awkwardly says he slipped, though both sides know that excuse is way too convenient. She apologizes, but then Hisal asks Sia what happened to all the cars they used to have, and why she showed up in one like this. Sia explains that her father sold all of them, and the girl says she really should have told her. To her, this just won't do. She says she'll give Sia a ride to school every day. Sia asks if she really means that out of nowhere, but the girl insists that at this school you need a proper car. Sia admits that's true, but says she doesn't want to cause trouble. The girl brushes that off, and says she'll talk to her father. Sian finally agrees, but the protagonist can't help wondering if Sian really had someone this close to her. It feels strange to him. Meanwhile, Heian arrives at the scene and asks where Jihan went. She says she got there in under 10 minutes, so there's no way he already went home. But someone there tells her Jihan left a while ago. Jihan says she already knew this would happen. Heian gets furious. Two strong men started a fight and they still couldn't keep him there for even 10 minutes. She calls it a complete disaster and worries about what happens if foreign groups start coming after him. She even starts biting her nails from stress. But Gaiyan tells her to stop, taking Hyeon's hand and reminding her that she once said things go badly whenever she bites her nails, so she can't let her do that. Hyeon pauses and wonders if she really said that, almost feeling bad for her. Then Gaiyan asks what she's going to do now and whether there's another way. Then she opens the protagonist's live stream. Hyeon says she'll hunt him down while he's live and wants to see who wins, so they jump into his stream. At that moment, he's beating the hell out of everyone in the game. One player holding a shield gets stomped so hard that the shield shatters, and everyone watching is shocked that he broke it barehanded. Then 2 points on him start to glow, and he activates the unnamed divine arts Brilliant Sky and Thunder Steps. He tears through the crowd, electrocuting them and blasting them into the air, dropping one player after another without hesitation. He thinks this feels pretty good. Focusing on his senses really does help him adapt faster. Then he says he wants to keep going a little longer. Everyone around him starts wondering if this is Jihan again, and they tremble in fear. The narration says Jihan, the one who killed a Gold League boss, the Flesh Golem, in a single hit, has the bronze players shaking just from being near him, which even surprises him. With lightning active, he spreads thunder through the field like Pikachu, wiping out the newbies before they even know where the attack came from. To them, he's basically a natural disaster that shows up out of nowhere. Then the match ends. The protagonist returns to reality on top of a building. It's announced that he took first place again, and everyone is shocked because that makes 5 times in a row. The system says that after finishing first 5 straight times, his EXP and gold rewards will increase by 200%. He didn't see that coming. His level goes up twice as well, reaching level 15, and that unlocks the dungeon. He realizes level 15 was the requirement for this place, and explains that the dungeon is game content that opens at level 15. Unlike the regular fights, dungeons also have traps, maze paths, and puzzles. Still, there's a limit to how far one person can go alone. Even Baronet recommends group play, which shows how important teamwork is inside a dungeon, but he thinks too many people are after him. If his teammates entered the dungeon planning to screw him over, there wouldn't be much he could do. So he wonders if he should join a guild, but quickly decides against it. Once he leaves, they'd obviously be angry, so even if it's annoying, he decides to put up with things for now. He says he should reach platinum soon, and once he gets there, he'll make his own guild, already thinking of a few people he wants by his side. Later that night, while making food for his niece, he asks her to set out the plates. Then he calls her over to eat, and at the table she asks why he cooks so well. He says calling this cooking feels like a stretch, but she says it tastes great, so he tells her he'll make something properly for her next time, thinking that cooking 1 meal a day in the US really paid off. She says that's amazing, but then he asks if she'll be riding with her friend today. She immediately asks if he's crazy, then flat out says no, that's not happening. He asks why she's reacting like that. She says she doesn't even want to talk about it, because the ride home was so awkward that she felt intimidated. She remembers the girl asking C what she was going to do now, saying this must hurt a lot, asking if there was any way she could help, and wondering how a father could do that to his own daughter. The protagonist thinks that really is annoying. But then she says there's one more thing. The car that belonged to her mother is better, and it's more comfortable too. With that, Sang just agrees and says she's right. So he takes her once again to school in the Cullinan, and everyone notices Sun Ji-han has arrived. People start complaining about all the scouts and reporters around. She thinks he gets way too much attention, but he thinks they look more like stalkers than reporters. They tell everyone this is private property and order them to leave. Seong says they should probably use a different car next time, but Seong looks ahead and spots two familiar faces. Hwaeon and Gaeon are there. She realizes they came to see the protagonist. He doesn't get it at first and asks why the mood is so serious. Then he's surprised to see her there. She says she came early and waited for him, and the girl watching thinks she's a little obsessed. Hwaesan points out she even gave him her card, but he never called. The girl says she won't bother her uncle this time, while Sog remembers he forgot all about that card. Then she steps right in front of MC and asks for a little of his time, acting pretty bold. Everyone around them starts paying attention. They can tell she made the first move again. After all, she even got him a gold-level contract, and now they wonder what she'll do if she still can't sign him. Seong says they're drawing too much attention out in public, and asks if she's okay with that. She says she doesn't care, she's used to people staring. He says she seems more at ease than usual, and she explains it's because she graduated from this academy too, so the place feels familiar. Still, she says his reaction has been harder to accept. When he realizes she means him not reaching out, he apologizes. He says he got busy and honestly forgot. She lets it go, saying this is new for her anyway. It's her first time chasing after someone, which is why she prepared a contract worthy of him. She has Haveman hand it over and says it's a platinum contract. That shocks everyone. A platinum deal for someone still in bronze. One guy gives up on the spot. Seong didn't expect her to go this far for him. She says with full confidence that this contract only happened because she pushed for it so hard, asking if he understands what that means. She leans into it hard, clearly trying to shake him up, then tells him that's how strongly she feels about signing him. Gaeon is stunned. She's seriously determined. Seong then says that her perfume smells like the one Zero used to wear. Meanwhile, Haolon wonders how he can stay so calm in a moment like this. In his head, he becomes sure that Lee Haolon is Zero. He even wonders if it's really the same person, while she feels her pride taking a hit. She didn't even get his number, and she decides she can't leave things like this. So she says she'll send him a sealed copy without checking further. Then asks how they're supposed to stay in touch. Sang asks if she's trying to get his number. That instantly gets under her skin, and Gaeon says he hit the sore spot exactly. She fires back, asking what he'll do if she is. He answers by suggesting a bet. That throws her off, and he explains the bet. He just reached level 15, and his next match will be a dungeon. He knows that always happens after level 15, and she's shocked he got there already. She can't believe he reached level 15 in just a month, and wonders how he pulled it off, then asks why he suddenly wants to bet. She asks what the wager is, and he says he's entering the dungeon right now. If he doesn't finish first, he'll sign with the Gemstars Guild and give her his number. She warns him that lots of people are targeting him, and Gaeon is shocked he plans to enter a dungeon without a guild or team. Song says it wouldn't be a bet if he had a 100% chance to win. She agrees, but admits that also scares her. She asks why he wants this so badly, and he says that if he wins, she has to show him her status window. He thinks he needs to check it himself to see whether she still has the stimulation gift she used to have. That request makes her suddenly shy. Seung stays serious, thinking that right now most people see stimulation as useless. From her reaction, that seems true, but he still needs to be sure. She agrees but warns him not to regret it later. Then she says he needs to queue up now, and asks if they should go somewhere else, but he says there's no need. He just tells her to wait there and enters Baratobi's stream. Saying he'll be back soon, he vanishes right in front of them. A moment later, he arrives at the Conqueror's Tomb dungeon. When he enters, the system says the dungeon is high difficulty. It's the underground tomb of a legendary conqueror, known for huge numbers of monsters and almost no traps or puzzles. Even so, it's still infamous for being extremely hard to clear it. Every member of the party has to survive until the end. Cedric realizes that means his allies matter a lot in this dungeon, and Gi Hun appears inside. Player summoning ends as the game is about to begin, and the protagonist notes that at least these random teammates don't look bad. Everyone is surprised to see Gi Hun there. MC figures those three are probably from the same guild. Their gear looks decent, and they say it's an honor to meet Sung. In the comments, someone points out they're from the Black Eagle Guild. Another viewer is shocked he is already in a dungeon, realizing he hit level 15. One of the teammates wonders if they should try to get first place too, and another agrees they think if the protagonist is here, they can do it. They ask Jae-hun to take the lead, but MC stops them and says he'll go first. They remind him he isn't the warrior. Still, he says it's fine. He trusts his own combat power. That surprises everyone, but they agree and follow behind him as he moves ahead calmly. He says it's a relief there doesn't seem to be a troll this time since the clear condition had him worried. Then he wonders if he should start running. At the start of the tomb, the first floor, a group of statues appears in front of them. The others get nervous because those are the tomb guards. Seong again says he'll take point. They protest that he's not the warrior, but he stays calm as the tomb guards close in. They ask Ai-hun what to do, saying the mage could probably clear a path with magic, but the protagonist says it's fine and tells them to just follow him. Then he charges forward and wipes them out, using only his hands. It's something they didn't even think was possible. He beats every last one down with pure brute force, one-on-one. They can only stare and ask what they're even looking at. Seong just tells them to keep following and pushes deeper in without slowing down. He explains that the Conqueror's Tomb has 10 routes. Each team starts in one, and all of them connect to the 7th underground floor, the dungeon's final area. Ji-hun's team got the 8th route, so he keeps leading them forward until they reach the 3rd floor. The others say seeing him in person is even crazier. They know those soldiers are supposed to have very high defense, so watching him smash them apart like sand is insane. Sungha thinks it's as easy as expected. The viewers are shocked he still hasn't used a weapon since the last match, but one commenter asks why he'd even need one in bronze, especially after beating the flesh golem. Then Takeda sends MC another 10,000 GP. People wonder what Takeda's trying to do, but he already knows that weirdo is after him in a very bad way. Even the way he types makes it obvious he's obsessed with him. The protagonist keeps cutting through monsters and moving ahead with no trouble. He tells everyone not to worry no matter what happens, he's not going to Japan. Then he says he's blocking that guy, and the viewers cheer him on. After that, he says they've already cleared the 3rd floor. Normally they'd just be finishing the 1st. So Ji-hun says they're moving faster than a jet. The warrior still can't understand how Sen broke through enemies that tough. The mage thanks him, feeling guilty for leaving all the work to him, but Ji-hun says there's no need. He says not messing things up is already a big help, and hopes they can keep playing together. Then MC suddenly pauses. He reaches the 4th floor and finds a straight path ahead. That immediately feels wrong to him. So wrong he can barely believe it. He tells them to check the walls and the floor, and the mage says it's obvious they're covered in traps, like every nasty one got packed into this place. The room is packed with traps, so Ji-hun asks if they mind him speeding up. They tell him to go for it. He says he'll handle the traps himself. Then he tells them to leave the rest to him. But as he moves ahead, that shady warrior starts acting up. He urges Ji-hun to keep going alone, because the second Ji-hun leaves, that million GP will be his. A Sword King fan sent him a mission, kill himself without letting Ji-hun notice, and earn 1 million GP. Turns out every member of the Black Eagle Guild got the same order, and the one behind it is Takeda, the same guy Ji-hun just blocked. He admits he didn't want to use the same trick twice, but throwing money around is all he can do now. Takeda says Gemhun has no way out this time because he bought all of them and he gave them very clear instructions. He smugly asks if Gemhun understands what that means, while Gemhun keeps moving ahead without a clue. Takeda thinks that the moment Gemhun pushes forward at full speed, he'll lose. In Takeda's head, the win is already his, and his plan would work perfectly if nobody warned Gemhun in time. While Takeda is busy thinking that nothing can stop him, then Golden Light suddenly shows up. At the same time, Gila Hyun keeps moving ahead, disarming traps even while they keep firing at him. He watches the arrows closely. The mage yells for Gila Hyun to dodge and says he'll deal with the arrows with his skill, but Gila Hyun says it's fine. He activates his space control power, Absolute Territory. A simple domain forms, and every arrow stops short before it can hit him. Everyone freezes in shock. The mage can't believe it, and asks what kind of skill that even is. He looks around wondering if the others saw that too. But when he turns back, he spots the 2 traitors, one aiming an arrow, the other pressing a sword to his own neck. The mage shouts for Gai Hun to look at them. Gai Hun finally notices they're trying to kill themselves, and demands to know what they're doing. Before either of them can finish it, Gai Hun uses an unnamed divine art, and channels lightning. The archer is shocked that the other guy is trying to die too, but Gi-hun instantly closes the gap with Shining Heavenly Step. He destroys both weapons before they can use them, leaving their arms throbbing in pain. One of them drops to the floor, and Gi-hun grabs him with raw strength and slams him down. The mage asks if Gi-hun is okay and wonders if the run is over, but Gi-hun says he stopped them just in time. The knight says they almost pulled it off, and the archer snaps back, asking if he got the same suicide mission too. He's told to shut up. The mage, the only one still acting normal, asks why they're fighting, and Gi-hun says it makes sense. Both of them got the same mission. If either one dies first, the game ends right there. The mage feels ashamed and apologizes as a guild member, but Gi-hun says there's no need. He's just glad he stopped them in time. Then the mage secretly tries to cast a spell into his own chest, but before he can, Gi-hun lifts his hand with telekinetic force and stops the spell cold. Gi-hun says that's exactly why he said it. He already knew the mage was in the same boat. Just like the narrator said, every Black Eagle Guild member got that request. The mage insists he never acted suspicious, so how did Gi-hun know? That question hits everyone watching. They all wonder how Gi-hun figured it out. Then the mystery narrator reveals himself. Golden Light. He donates 10,000 GP, warns Gi-hun that the Black Eagle members were bribed to kill themselves for 1 million GP, and proudly calls himself Gi-hun's trusted assistant. He says that as a huge Gi-hun fan, he was watching the stream live and checking the other team members' streams too. That's when he saw the exact moment they got the Sword King fans' mission. So he sent Gi-hun the full warning through a 10,001 donation. He says it's worth it if it's for justice, and begs Gi-hun to accept this loyal lackey as his editor. But Gi-hun starts feeling like something about this is off, so he slams the traitors down with force and says that even with a personal grudge, spending 1 billion won on one mission is way too much. Even if someone's life is on the line, it's still absurd. The chat agrees, and Gi-hun picks up the sword on the ground, saying he's come to one conclusion. At least one high-ranking guild name or the Sword King's special influence was bypassed. Everyone thinks that makes sense. Spending 1 billion won just to peek at a stadium window is insane. And the obsession with Gifhoon is getting creepy. One viewer starts thinking it might be that weird guy. Gifhoon asks who it could be and Takeda suddenly goes cold silent, making everyone suspect him. Gifhoon says whoever it is tried to reach that stadium window by cheating. Then he changes his promise from 200,000 subscribers to 1 million. His promise about taking first place stays the same. He says he was worried 200,000 would come too fast anyway, but thanks to this mess he got more money and more attention. So now he'll use it all to reach 1 million subscribers. Then he grabs a rope, strikes a pose, and the viewers start saying he looks crazy, even just holding it. It's an F-rank binding rope used to restrain defeated enemies. Jae-hun says it's perfect, tough, sturdy, and enough to keep them tied up. Then he asks what they think about moving on while carrying all three of them like kids, dragging them around, banging them into everything on the way. Eventually they reach the final room and everyone wonders what's waiting ahead. Then a monster warns them not to disturb his rest. It keeps saying the Emperor is eternal, repeating it over and over as the 6th underground floor begins. As the three traitors get dragged along like dogs, they wonder what the hell is happening, while the viewers crack up and ask why they've gone so quiet. The warrior can't believe Jae-hun is in bronze like him and keeps asking why he's so strong. Then the story jumps back 10 minutes earlier when they were yelling at Jae-hun saying they'd kill him, even though they were hanging in the air under telekinesis, unable to move a single muscle. They call it their final warning and demand to be let go. They threaten that if he doesn't want to become the Falcon Guild's #1 enemy, he should release them. Jae-hun answers by piercing one man's armor with a martial art using just one finger. They're stunned, and Jae-hun asks if they really think their guild would protect trash like them. Then they feel the strength draining from their bodies, and the warrior goes limp, hanging there like overcooked noodles under Jae-hun's power. Jae-hun does the same to the others, and the warrior can't make sense of it. He realizes Jae-hun is striking their pressure points. Jae-hun says it's been a while, but he hasn't lost his touch. The warrior recognizes it as a technique only an advanced martial artist warrior class can use. He had thought Jae-hun was just support, and now he realizes that at this rate, they're all getting dragged along. Then he remembers the mage stupidly bringing up Jae-hun's niece. Knowing Jae-hun is sensitive about her, he tries to say something about her too, but Jae-hun instantly seals his mouth shut with force. At that point, Jae-hun is just wondering why this idiot won't shut up. Now the warrior is completely wrecked, getting dragged like a trash bag and thinking the floor hurts like crazy. Jae-hun keeps healing them while scraping them across the ground. The archer starts saying it feels good. The mage tells him to shut up, and one viewer points out that Jae-hun still heals them every so often. Another viewer says he can't let them die anyway, and Jae-hun says he's now on the 6th floor. If he clears this one, he'll reach the final stage and the boss, still dragging them along. He enters another room, and the second he steps in, he knows something is wrong. It's too dark to see clearly, but clay soldiers are packed all around the room. Then he senses something, and realizes there are soldiers behind him too. They rush straight at the three cowards on the ground, trying to strike them down, but Jae-hun saves them at the last second, stopping a soldier's blade right in front of their faces. He grabs them and throws them back out of danger, blocks the soldier's sword, kills it, and charges the rest. He clears them out with ease. The viewers are amazed and note that it's been a while since he used a sword. Then another soldier suddenly gets back up, its eyes glowing, and Jae-hun actually shudders. The whole tomb starts shaking. The others are left stunned. Then he starts speaking, and every clay soldier around him wakes up at once. Their glowing eyes tell him they're in a frenzy. His mission is simple: kill every guard for 1,000 conquest points. He says it's been a while since he got a quest like this. The last one was on the defense map, so he puts a shield around those three idiots. Then he drops his sword right on top of them, scaring them half to death. One of them wonders why he gave them a shield if he was just going to hit them. But Seong says he's still stronger than that. What he really wanted was to prove the shield could easily block a clay soldier's attack. Now he doesn't need to guard them himself, so he spreads absolute territory and slows anything that enters it. He says this skill still amazes him every time. Inside absolute territory, everyone's movements are slowed down, and with just his hand, he tears through everything in sight. He says this is a zone where he has total control, and honestly, if that already feels too broken, things are only going to get crazier. He even says it's a waste for Baron. Such a good skill used just to boost mana. After that, he says playtime is over. He's ending this now, charging straight at the soldiers with nothing but a burst of power that shatters everything around him. Just like that, he clears the mission with ridiculous ease. Then it's revealed that the Conqueror's tomb can only be cleared if every party member is still alive. The Conqueror opens his eyes and welcomes the looters, saying gold is what humans steal and get robbed of in return, and he'll give them what they want. Song says that must be tied to the last stage clear condition. While the looter warns them to mind their manners, he explains the final condition is to be seen as worthy of respect by all players, and everyone is shocked he's already at the boss. Now he stands face to face with the floor's final challenge. Then something starts glowing on the ground and he throws the three fools forward before cutting the cords that were holding them and forcing them back onto their feet. He starts controlling them like puppets. He says it's possible, and all of them begin moving by Seek's will alone, their bodies obeying him on their own. With that, he moves closer. It said Jilon's total strength is now 18, and both the range and power of absolute territory have increased. The Conqueror tells them to begin while aiming an arrow their way, and Sejong thinks the distance is a bit far, but if he stays in the middle, it's enough to control them. He forces all three to kneel toward the Conqueror, then slams their faces to the floor in a full bow. The protagonist figures that should be enough for a perfect clear. The Conqueror says that was excellent, and tells them they may return to where they came from. So he clears the underground of the 7th floor, and everyone is shocked he did it alone. Then the return gate starts opening, and one of them says he didn't get his 10 billion, but at least he finished in first. The mage is just glad they cleared it, but then asks why Sejong isn't moving. MC looks disappointed for a second, then laughs and calls it ridiculous. He asks what kind of mission this is because the secret quest is to show genuine respect to the Conqueror's statue. The reward is 5,000 conquest points, plus the Conqueror's arrow. He thinks 5,000 points is a ton and he gets the arrow too. It's as big as a spear and he wonders if he can really claim that as a reward. Then he focuses on the words genuine respect. He looks at the mage who starts worrying about what Sejong is planning and what happens if the second place team arrives. But then he gets yanked over by his telekinesis and the protagonist addresses the Conqueror as the king of looters, saying this is his way of showing true respect. The Conqueror watches closely to see what Sejong is doing and the mage hates every second of it. Then MC grabs him and hurls him at the Conqueror, sending him onto the horse, but the horse is so vicious it rips the mage's head off before he can even reach the Conqueror. The player dies instantly, leaving the knight stunned. Everyone realizes he was eaten alive and starts asking how that's even possible. They also can't believe what Sejong is doing. From atop that deadly horse, the Conqueror asks about what he said. Does he really mean him by king of looters? The protagonist answers that a conqueror is the highest point a looter can reach, and he's only showing his deepest respect. Then he adds that instead of gold, he'll take something truly valuable, the arrow in his hand. He says the conqueror's arrow is part of the reward, and understanding its value enough to ask for it is proof of real respect. That, he says, is the secret quest's clear condition. Then the conqueror smiles, laughing loudly through the chamber. He says this is incredible, high praise in fact, and with that saying gathers his power and raises his sword. The Conqueror says he's been moved and will reward him with his true treasure for showing genuine respect. MC thanks him and says he'll gladly accept it, already ready to strike. Then the Conqueror tells him to come and claim it, pointing the phoenix arrow at Sejong, prepared to fire it at the boy. That clash fills the room with insane tension, and the chat starts wondering how he knew this. Meanwhile, the traitor archer from his group starts sweating like crazy, saying he can't breathe and feels like he's about to die. Then he notices something, he's burning. The people around him start dying too, and the viewers say it's terrifying because they're combusting from the heat. They scream while Sech is affected too, sweating heavily. He realizes this is bad. If it keeps going, he won't be able to handle it, and he'll die just like the others. He says he doesn't care about those guys, but once they die, their weapons vanish with them. So he has to deal with this before that happens. The heat melts the gold into liquid, and they point out it's already this bad before he even fired. Then the archer dies from the heat. Sejong says that heat is monstrous and he can feel it instinctively. Then the protagonist says that as he is now, he can't face that arrow head on. No matter what he does, his only option is to aim for the bow and hit it before the arrow can be fired. He recalls a story from long ago. A lost wanderer met a wise man who said he would show him the path and told him to follow it with total martial devotion, through the 3 talents. Sejong says this is the most polished form of all, the ultra-fast strike. He pushes himself to the limit, almost becoming lightning, and rushes the Conqueror. The blow tears away much of the Conqueror's face along with the arrow, and with that strike he stops the shot from ever being fired. The bow breaks, and he follows with the path of the immortal sage, stopping the Conqueror's attack and leaving him with only half a bow. The arrow slams into the ground instead. Everyone is left asking what just happened. The bow was destroyed. The Conqueror then asks Song his name. Thinking it worked, he introduces himself as MC Jihan. The Conqueror remembers the name and calls him Admirable. Then he throws that spear-sized weapon at him, saying Song showed the highest respect. He catches it bare-handed, stopping the throw even at blinding speed. The Conqueror declares that he has earned the right to inherit the Phoenix arrow, the one he is holding like a spear, and the whole chat loses it, because everyone's thinking the same thing. That is not an arrow. The Conqueror addresses the protagonist as a looter, and says he looks forward to meeting him again on a more honorable battlefield than this one. Then he leaves, and Song agrees he'd definitely like to meet him again. He thinks Baron has countless battlefields, so their paths may cross again. Then he starts using the thing like a real spear, and says it's perfect. He just needs to remove the feathers and use the arrow as a spear. People ask Jahan what kind of skill that was because they couldn't follow it at all, not even in slow motion. They even dropped the playback to 0.25, but still can't see it. Song says of course they couldn't. Path of the Immortal Sage isn't just incredibly fast, the technique also focuses on a single point with a razor-thin sword aura, so it can strike precisely from far away. He lifts his hand and says his control over the unnamed divine arts is getting better. The first time he tried it, it was unstable and drained too much power. But the more he uses the skill, the more polished and stable it becomes. He thinks that if this keeps up, he'll be able to bring out the basic forms of martial arts. It's also announced that the Conqueror recognized him, so he's exempt from the 7th floor's test. He wonders if that shocked the chat too. After all, his whole team died and he still won. Then he remembers one of them actually survived. While that gentleman is still trying to figure out what happened, he asks when the archer died. The proto raises the spear and says he'll finish this properly. He adds that he's not nice enough to